Hi everyone. My dad passed away 4 years ago. My dad was a real entrepreneur, bit of a Dell boy. And he used to say to me, Sam, do you know what? We only have to think of one little thing that nobody else has thought of, and we'd be millionaires. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I used to try and frantically think of something. You know, we used to watch Dragon's Den and, all those shows. He even invented inflammable wallpaper. And I won't tell you how that ended, right? But really, he was a character, but he was very kind, very hardworking. And my story started when I had a business idea. My dad had just passed away, actually. My marriage had failed. My hearing impaired, I have a hearing impaired daughter with severe language delay, Abby. And she was just about to start primary school. So I was thinking, God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do when she starts school? I was hitting 40 as well. So it was kind of like, And I was thinking, what am I going to do with my life? And I had customer experience and sales. And I was pretty good looking in my day, right? So I thought that, my looks, like I never changed a tire in my life, for example. And I thought my looks was the only thing I had. I didn't think I had any other talents, really. And so one day I was in the supermarket. Out of necessity, I was looking for a first period gift box for girls. And there was none. And it was a starter set I was looking for. And I said, hang on, this is not right. So I had all these ducks lined up in a row. My dad passing away, marriage failing. I was a lone parent now. My daughter was about to start school. All these ducks were lined up ready to do something, but I didn't know what. So I stand there and I hadn't got a penny. I had no money, right? And I said, I know, I'll create a first period gift box for girls. So I called it Funky Goddess, right? And I said, okay, I'll do this. And I applied for Dragon's Den. And I started using Twitter to market the business because I had no marketing budget. And my sister put me on Twitter, and I was like, oh, right, okay, what do I do here? And she was like, you just market your business through Twitter. And I was like, okay. I had barely a Facebook page. Like, I hadn't a clue what to do. But what I started doing was, I started following people I admired, like Tio Pafitas and, Nora Casey and Michelle Moon, all these people that I admired. And then, when the kids went to bed, when you're an entrepreneur, it's very isolating. And you could be just sitting at your desk in your kitchen, and it can be quite isolating and feel a bit lonely. So in the evenings when the kids went to bed, I had no social life. So I started going on Twitter, and I started talking to people. And I just started talking back to people who engaged with me and said, oh, the first period gift box, great idea, blah, blah, blah. And I started connecting with moms. And then I started connecting with lone fathers, because lone fathers were another target market that I hadn't thought of, and then big sisters and godparents and aunts, and it went on and on. So I was learning as I went. I had no business experience. But I started connecting with these people, and I just started talking to them. I didn't know I was building relationships. I didn't know that. I thought I was just talking to people and chatting and helping people. And one thing I learned from my dad was, always be kind and help others, assist others when you can. And I know I saw him do that. If there was a guy going down the wrong path, he'd give them a bit of work, He was a painter and decorator, hence the wallpaper thing. And he'd always try and help someone out when he could. And he loved nature. And we used to sit outside, and he'd be smoking his pipe and drinking a cup of tea, and we'd be watching the birds, the bird table. It's very spiritual, really. So he was in my head, when I went to Dragon's Den. And I was getting my makeup done by the makeup girl. I love getting the makeup done. I got it done this morning as well. Great. And a butterfly landed on the makeup girl's light. And she was like, why is there a butterfly here in January? And I said, that's my dad. And so I went up the steps, Dragon's Den. I went into the Dragon's Den. And of course, my dad was in my head when I went in. And because we used to watch it together as well, my dad used to say, sure, that's a great idea. Do you see what this fella's doing? Isn't that brilliant? Why didn't I think of that, And so when Nora Casey turned around and said, you've had a tough year, haven't you? When she said that, of course, I started crying. So I was the girl that cried in Dragon's Den, right? But the thing that happened from that was, I was on Twitter and I had about 4,000 followers at this stage. People identified with me. Every single one of you here, I'm sure, knows someone that you've lost that, you know, you really miss. And everyone could identify with me. It showed the human side. And it's all about Twitter and all this social media that we're talking about today. It's all about people. It's all about people. It's all about how you treat people. It's like, you know, people won't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. That's a quote that I love. And if you ignore someone, they're going to feel like crap, right? But if you engage with someone and reach out to them and help them, it's going to make them feel so much better. And it's going to give them hope, like Carol was saying earlier. And I thought that there were so much like barriers coming up for me. And people saying, you're mad starting a business in a recession. Are you mad or what? What do you want to put yourself through that for? You know? And I got so many things like that. I said, I can't be the only entrepreneur, the only small business owner feeling like this. And so one day on Twitter, because I had so many followers, I said, well, maybe I can do something with this power of having all these followers. So I said, look, guys, it looks like we're going to have to help each other out here. Why don't we start an Irish biz party and just start talking to each other and helping each other and retweeting each other? That night, it trended #1 in Ireland on Twitter, which means it was the most popular topic that evening. And then everyone said at the end of it, can we do this next week? And that was 3.5 years ago. So 3.5 years ago, for every Wednesday night, you get all these small business owners, same as me and you, same, like just all connecting. And I saw some magic happening. I started to see some magic. People were saying, oh, actually, I think my mum would love one of those. Oh, you live down the road from me. I didn't realize. We must have a coffee. So I saw these relationships being built, and then they were bringing them offline. So that's really how I got so popular on Twitter, was because I started sharing my knowledge, assisting others, and kindness. And I've had kindness shown to me from leaders. Like, I have had so many leaders that I remember meeting one guy, Bill Yao, right? I remember asking him to come to the first Irish Biz Party meetup. It was a barbecue. And I said, oh, Bill Yao lives up the road. I'll ask him, does he want to come in? So I emailed him and I said, don't suppose you want to drop in for a burger, do you? And he went, yeah, okay. And everyone was like, oh my God, how did you get Bill Yao to come to the barbecue? And I was like, I just asked him, you know? And he was so kind to me. The next day, we went to the Old Head in Kinsale. I don't know if you know that golf club. It's really posh. I was waiting for Bill Clinton to walk in, like. And I had the bottom of my shoe, the thing was coming off the sole. I had no money still. I was working my ass. I was working so hard. Sorry, I was working really. You can cut that bit. I was working really hard to get to where I wanted to be, and to get the Funky Goddess product. It was all over the place. It was in 100 pharmacies nationwide. That I still wasn't making profit. I needed the investment, And I remember going to see him and feeling, I'm not good enough to be here. And I remember walking into, and he was so kind to me. He sat and had a cup of tea with me. He just listened. And sometimes all we need is just to sit down and bounce ideas off someone and just listen. Someone to listen to us. Like I often felt going into networking events as well. I often felt, oh my God, I can't walk in here. I'm just a mum that had a business idea. I don't have a big flash car. I didn't know how to dress. I didn't have the lingo. I never went to college. So I really felt like I'm not good enough to be here. They're all going to find out I'm a big fraud. And I'm not good enough was always a fear. And I remember I was at a different conference and Bill Yao was there. It's not an ad for Bill Yao, by the way. I'm just saying this is the kindness that leaders can show people that are really, really successful, millionaires. People like that, always, they're the ones that have shown the most kindness, I find, because they've been there and they've worked hard to get there. And I remember him saying, someone asked, oh, what's your biggest obstacle? And I remember saying, oh, am I good enough? And then at the end of the conference, he was going and he was saying, oh, by the way, Sam, you are good enough. And I was like, oh, okay. And it kind of stuck in my head. And these little words and these little things that on Twitter, that I can say on Twitter, can make a difference to someone. Like if somebody's having a bad day, I see it and I go and I say, are you all right? Is there anything I can do to help? And it could be, and then next thing I get a phone call and someone rings me and they're like, oh, I'm really stuck, I don't know what to do with my business and this. And I might say, okay, well, have you tried this? Or let's do this. And I'd give them a few sticky plaster solutions. But I forgot about that call that lady made to me that day. And I was on the phone to her for about half an hour. And I forgot all about it. And she was very upset. And I remember being there myself. And a few months later, I promised the girls that I'd bring them on a plane holiday, like a sun holiday abroad. And I was booking the holiday, and I went, oh my God. Like, I have a boyfriend now, by the way, so there's 4 of us, right? And it's great. And so we were going to go to the holiday, and I went, oh my God, like, it costs about 2,000, 3,000. How do people go on holidays? How do families of 4? I'd never been on a holiday. How do families of 4 go on holidays? And I put it on Facebook. And that girl messaged me, and she said, Sam, I have an apartment in Portugal. And it's free the first week in October. You can have it for nothing for the help you gave me that time. So she remembered. And then I got a free holiday. It was great. But the thing was, I wasn't expecting anything back for that. And she remembered that kindness that I showed her. Like, I have seen it all the time. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it on social media. Even Carol mentioned it. Some of the girls mentioned it there. Like, you can help do good with social media. You can help do good by reaching out to others and helping them. They remember, and they will remember. And all it is just people. It's just about people, how you treat people. I don't understand why we can't all just work together and succeed together. I can't stand people that climb over each other to succeed. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And so that's why I started creating communities on Twitter and on Facebook to help each other and support each other. I mean, why can't we all just, if we work together and assist each other and share our knowledge with each other, there's plenty of business to go around to everybody. Like, surround yourself with good people who get what you do, understand your passion, and want you to succeed and celebrate your successes, not the ones that want to put obstacles in your way. Just get rid of them. Look, my Twitter handle is Tweeting Goddess, right? The grief I got about that. Who does she think she is? Tweeting Goddess. Sure, she's 43. She could do with losing a few pound, actually. And, who does she think? And do you know what I did? I blocked them all. I blocked every single one of them. And I said, you know what? I really don't want you in my life or in my circle. Or it's like real life. Just surround yourself with good people that understand you. Get what you're doing. Forget about the rest. It's none of my business what other people think of me. It's none of my business what they're saying about me. That's their thing. That's their stuff. And the people who are kind, all those leaders that you see on the television and everything, they've all succeeded because they help others, they assist others, they give their time. Could be a coffee, could be a quick phone call, a Skype call, or whatever. And I've seen it in action on social media. Ted Rubin, he's he's like my Justin Bieber. He's my huge, I love him. He's like a social media strategist, and I'm like, oh my God. And do you know what? There's another thing called Blab that I use. And he did his first Blab with me. Because I asked him, I said, Ted, will you do your first Blab with me? Because he hadn't been on Blab yet. He went, yeah, sure, Sam, I will. Why? Because I'd already been engaging with him. I'd already been sharing his content. I'd already been talking about the same thing he talks about, which is return on relationship. And no let up is another one. Don't give up. You will get there. When I was coming up to Omagh, I live in Wexford. I love Omagh, by the way. I've been here loads of times. And when I was on my way to Omagh, I was pulling out of the driveway. This is true. A robin landed just in front of the car on the driveway. And I said, I had to stop. I had to stop the car. And I said, that's Dad. Wish me luck. So I am good enough. Thank you.